Now, whenever I've killed any fun animals on this channel in my intros, such as chickens, I always use a sword or an axe. Today, we're going to change that up by testing how easy it is to kill a chicken with a bow. Does it just take one shot from a normal bow? It does. This, of course, has given me an idea. It's going to, of course, require a little bit of redstone. Will this work? Let's see. It didn't, so I'm just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Ah, yes. Perfect. No, not perfect. Stay in there. Oh, gosh. Now it's perfect. Look at that. Some are still living. They're fighting back. This is taking me 5 minutes. But there we go. I guess we probably should start the video now, which has got nothing to do with this. Subscribe. Now, I've been working on my mega base on the Empire's SMP for quite a while, and honestly, the inside is starting to drive me nuts. So let's focus on the outside today. As you can see, the outside is very colourful, and this took a long time to design. I took a lot of inspiration from a photo I saw, but I built this all from scratch. However, I built it in 1.17, and now we're on 1.18, where the world height limit has increased substantially. I didn't just build all of it in survival, of course. Beforehand, I designed it in creative. So, welcome to my test world. That's right, we are here on a single player version of Empires, where I basically just designed everything. You can see even at the start here, things that just were built but not finished properly. Lots of floaty things, lots of trees without leaves, some things that I never actually added into actual Empires, including this bridge design here, which I was going to implement. But most importantly, the mega base here, which you can see multiple parts of spread out as I've added them in gradually into the actual world. And unfortunately, we don't have the current interior we have inside the actual mega base. Instead, it's completely empty. However, we are now in 1.18, meaning the build limit has been increased from 256, which it used to be, to 319, which is quite considerably higher, as you can see. And people always ask me, is there stuff I would have done differently if we did have a different height limit? And I can say I would change this top section here, as it feels a little bit squashed, this part here, especially in comparison to this massive bit here. So I'm actually going to see right now what it would have looked like if we did have 1.18. Basically, it would look bigger. I decided to go for a wider base and make it a bit of a bigger dome as well. As you can see, I was struggling getting the right dome size, but we got it eventually. So we added on some lights and a little spire as well. And this is the result. As you can see, it looks quite a bit bigger. But what did it look like before? Just a little bit more squished, as you can see. I think the new version looks quite a bit better. It really matches these parts here. And that is just, it's just so squished looking. Man, I kind of wish we had 118 now. This is kind of cool. Also, what is that? Is that a block missing? That won't do. But now we've sort of upgraded it to 118. We know what this looks like in a mesa. But what does it look like in other biomes, i.e. I'm going to spend a long time recoloring this thing and making it fit into other biomes. And of course, I'm not going to just rebuild the entire thing, as that would be insane. Instead, I'm going to make a world edit schematic of this thing. And yes, that is 12 million blocks of building. And in case you're wondering how many materials went into this thing, here is a list. The only one that is wrong is the yellow concrete here, but the rest of these are accurate. 20,000 red sandstone, 16,000 moss blocks. It is kind of ridiculous. Like, if you look at, like, just the red sandstone alone, that's 322 stacks. Even, like, amethyst is 14 stacks. Warped trapdoors, 34 stacks. Can't believe I collected all this in survival. Oh well, it's done now. So, I've made a brand new world, and this world is all this jagged peaks biome. As we're going to see what this palace would look like if we redecorated it to be a snow palace. This is going to be quite tricky to paste in, but let me try right here. And it's probably going to just take a while, as it is massive. Oh! It's slowly loading in, and now that that is in, man, it does look weird. Look how strange it looks. Not gonna lie, it looks pretty cool just like this. But we're gonna give it a makeover anyway and see what we can do to this thing. This might be a bit of a weird time lapse and it might be kind of laggy in some places, but I'm gonna give it a go. And if it looks terrible, I'm sorry, but let's keep our fingers crossed, eh? So the first thing I did was use some World Edit to change the colours up a little bit. I changed the walls, the roofs, and some other things as well. But unfortunately, I couldn't use World Edit for everything, as there's a lot of slabs, a lot of trapdoors, which just don't work with World Edit. So I started off with the front tower, bringing in the white and blue theme that we're going to be using here. And I did this tower as well. As you can see, more blue. The acacia wood is all turning to warped wood. And all the greens, purples, yellows, etc. are turning to more like blues / dark blues and cyans. And the way I made this was I made half of the palace one color, then I flipped it and did it on the other side as well. And I did that on a lot of the towers as well, using some rotations, etc. And here you can see me working on the main tower itself. I used some ice as well because I thought it looked quite nice with the other blues. And also added in some prismarine and dark prismarine, but I'd used quite a lot of that already, so it fit in quite well with the current colors I had there. I then built some spruce trees to go around on the sides where we have the sort of overflowing azalea trees in the original build. And I made 3 different types of sized tree and just plopped them around, as well as bone milled the grass, and that is basically it. And here it is. It looks weird. It looks so similar, but at the same time, quite different. But I really like it. It doesn't really fit as well as, you know, it does in the Mesa. I feel like it's definitely better in the original colors, more bright, etc. And it's kind of weird, it's sort of in this valley here, which is like the only place I could find to fit it. Whereas I feel like a palace like this needs to be up high like it is in the Mesa. But I do like it still. Let's have a look with shaders, shall we? Okay, I can kind of get behind this. This looks very, very, very good. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so blue, but it looks so good. Oh, I can't get enough now. So there you have it, the winter Mazalian Natural Palace. But now we need to see another biome, and I have one in mind, and that is the Dark Oak Forest. As we've got a bright blue palace, we've got a very colourful palace. What about a dark palace? So let's see if we can find somewhere to plop this beast down. Let's try just here. Okay, so it's loading in. Doesn't look too bad in this biome. Obviously, it doesn't fit very nicely, but this palace just works with everything, doesn't it? Nah, I'm kidding. But let's make it fit in a bit nicer. This is going to be a weird one. Let's see how it turns out. All I know is I'm going to do dark colors at the moment. It could look awful. It could look all right. Let's switch to time-lapse mode, where we're going to give this thing a Dark Oak Forest makeover. So once again, I started out by using a bit of World Edit to change all the blocks, and I changed all the roofs to red and black, and then got working on the main blocks themselves. We used a lot of deep slate, we used a lot of black concrete, we used a lot of black stone, and I was struggling for a while to replace all the blocks because there's just so much color in the original build where there is not that many dark blocks in comparison. But we got there eventually. We used a lot of red as well. Neverwart blocks came in clutch, as well as just black stone in general, and I used a bit of granite as well in some places. And this one took a lot longer than the first snowy edition because there was a lot more blocks to replace, including the sandstone and the quartz, which I didn't replace on the other build. But I did utilize my copy and pasting a little bit better this time, so I didn't have to actually hand place a lot of blocks this time. And you can see here, we're just finishing off the tippy top bit right now, and then it is done. And here it is. I don't know why, but since I've looked at it head on, I've just thought, you know, Jafar from Aladdin, I feel like he would live in this palace. Like, it's the opposite to, like, the Aladdin palace. But I love it. I think it's looking rather sinister, and it does fit in quite nicely with the Dark Oak Forest. Unfortunately, the trees on this one, I didn't add any on there because there's just trees everywhere. You don't need more trees up there. But I think this one works better than the winter one, and you know what we have to do? We have to go look at those shaders shots because I reckon it's going to look... Oh, that's the only way I can describe it. Oh, and you know I was right. Look at that. Oh, with the fog, everything. Oh, it's looking so nice. I would definitely describe this as, oh. I feel like this one here just makes the build look completely different in every single way. It just doesn't look like the palace I have on Mazalia. And speaking of which, I'm actually going to do one last thing today, and that is to paste in the palace as it is. However, in a new mesa biome, which are quite different, I think, in some ways. So let's do that quickly and see how it looks. I always call it the mesa, but every time I go to search it on a biomes list, it's always the Badlands. All right, let's see if we can place this in this little valley part here. It always crashes every time I paste it in. It was even too big for this space here, which is just ridiculous. But let me see if I can blend it in a little bit, as at the moment it is quite floaty in some places, although I could just use the shaders to hide that. That would be a lot less work, and I don't like work. So let's do that. It kind of hides it. It makes the Mazzalian Palace look all mystical and beautiful, and I do like that. This shaders mod is different to the one I usually use, but you know what? If it hides the fact that I can't be bothered to build some stuff, then that's okay with me. So there you have it, guys. The Mazzalian Palace. You thought you'd seen enough of it? Well, you probably have now. I'm sorry. I'll never make a video like this again. I'm just kidding. But I had a lot of fun messing around here with the different styles of Mazzalian Palace. I hope you enjoyed looking at them as well. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and comment and subscribe if you're new. And here's to the next Mega Base. Goodbye.